Let's dive into 5 Supreme Court decisions from the 1800s that fundamentally shaped the United States. These rulings not only resolved key issues of their time, but also left lasting impacts on the country. Number 5. Plessy versus Ferguson, 1896. This landmark case upheld racial segregation under the separate but equal doctrine. At the time, this decision provided a legal basis for Jim Crow laws, which enforced segregation in the South for nearly 6 decades. Although it was eventually overturned by Brown versus Board of Education in 1954, Plessy versus Ferguson institutionalized racial inequality and delayed civil rights progress in the United States. Number 4. Dred Scott versus Sanford, 1857. The Dred Scott decision is one of the most infamous rulings in U.S. history. The court declared that African Americans, whether enslaved or free, could not be American citizens. It also ruled that Congress lacked the power to prohibit slavery in federal territories. This decision inflamed sectional tensions between the North and South, pushing the country closer to the Civil War. Its consequences were so severe that it was effectively nullified by the 13th and 14th Amendments after the war. Number 3. Gibbons versus Ogden, 1824. In this case, the Supreme Court asserted the federal government's exclusive power to regulate interstate commerce. By striking down a New York law that gave a steamboat company a monopoly, the court promoted free trade across state lines. This decision was crucial for building a national economy, as it prevented states from enacting protectionist measures that could disrupt commerce. Long-term, Gibbons versus Ogden helped the U.S. become a unified economic powerhouse. Number 2. McCulloch v. Maryland, 1819. This decision established 2 critical principles: the implied powers of the federal government and the supremacy of federal law over state laws. When Maryland tried to tax the national bank, the Supreme Court ruled that states couldn't interfere with federal institutions. McCulloch v. Maryland strengthened the federal government's ability to manage the economy and paved the way for future federal initiatives, influencing everything from infrastructure to social programs. Number 1. Marbury versus Madison, 1803. Marbury versus Madison is arguably the most important Supreme Court decision of all time. By establishing the principle of judicial review, this case gave the Supreme Court the power to declare laws unconstitutional. This transformed the court into a co-equal branch of government, capable of checking the powers of the executive and legislative branches. Judicial review has since become a fundamental part of the U.S. legal system, shaping everything from civil rights to economic regulations. These rulings didn't just resolve legal disputes, they defined the nation. From establishing the role of the federal government to shaping civil rights, they set precedents that continue to influence American society today.